My name is Ricardo Marman, the leader of Azania. A peaceful, revolutionary greetings to all of you. Today is the 27th of April, 2024, and we are expected to celebrate Freedom Day. But please don't let them deceive you. After 30 years of ANC waste, we are still not free. Mandela's ANC did not lead us to freedom. They led us to where we are today. I think the time has come for us in this country to be honest with ourselves and to look honestly at our history. And in particular, we must remember the warning of one of the great leaders of this country, Professor Robert Sobukwe, when he warned in the 1950s already that the ANC has been compromised and that the ANC therefore will not deliver the promise of freedom. I am afraid Professor Robert Sobukwe was right. And if all of us look ourselves in the mirror and we are honest with ourselves, we will agree that indeed Professor Robert Sobukwe was right about the ANC and that we were all deceived in 1994. And that is why we are here where we are today. Most of us are still living in squatter camps with our families and in back rooms. We are living like refugees in our own country. That is not freedom. They say that we have the best constitution in the world. I don't agree. What kind of a constitution gives away the independence and sovereignty of a nation to the United Nations? This is what is happening in South Africa. Our sovereignty has been handed over to the United Nations. Our independence has been handed over to the United Nations. South Africa is nothing more than a neo-colonial state. Our government is busy chasing the UN 2030 agenda. What about our agenda? What about the agenda here in this country to improve the lives of every man, woman, and child? To ensure that we uplift them out of oppression and poverty? What about that agenda? What kind of a government pursues foreign agendas? The agenda of the UN instead of the agenda of our people. They say that our rights are enshrined in the Bill of Rights. That is what they say. South Africa, never ever forget how all of the rights that are enshrined in the Bill of Rights were taken away from us all of a sudden, brutally, without any warning during the lockdown. The entire nation was placed under house arrest. The entire country was turned into an open-air prison. That is not freedom. They forced us to wear face masks. We couldn't breathe fresh air. And they forced us to take toxic vaccines. That is not freedom. The lockdown was not freedom. It was treasonous. It was oppression. It was totalitarianism. It was a dictatorship. The lockdown was a crime against humanity. We are all living in constant fear of crime and gangsterism. The murder rate in South Africa is higher than the death rate in some war-torn countries. How can we be free when we are living in constant fear of being murdered in our own country? That is not freedom. Now we are being starved. The private monopoly companies in this country are deliberately increasing and fixing food prices, to starve us, while the government watches on and does nothing. Instead, the government is giving us many excuses of why the food prices must remain high. Because of the war in Ukraine, because of this, because of that. All different kinds of excuses and deceptions in order to justify food prices being so high, in order to justify starving us to death slowly with such deception. Remember, they said to us that the country is experiencing load shedding in order to protect the grid. Please, South Africa, please do not be deceived by these people. Please wake up, South Africa. We are going through load shedding. They are using load shedding as a tactic, as a technique to destroy our industrial base in this country. They want to close down the factories in South Africa, and they want to relocate them to countries where there is more electricity, countries like China and India, and they want to leave our people here jobless. Where is the load shedding now? Where is the load shedding now? 1 month before the election, we are experiencing no load shedding in this country. Please, South Africa, please realize now. Please wake up now. They are deceiving you with this load shedding. They are playing you for a fool. The brutal crackdown by the Democratic Alliance against the Muslims of the Western Cape will start again after the elections. And it will get much worse. They will revive the fake war on terror, and they will start calling Muslims terrorists again. They will say that the ANC government was funded by Iran to take the case of genocide to the ICJ. And because of the hostilities between the apartheid state of Israel and Iran, they will argue that South Africa should also be punished with economic sanctions, and that the Muslims must be blamed for that. The Christians will be convinced to attack the Muslims, and they will be told that attacking the Muslims and destroying the Muslims is part of end times prophecy. This is how they will divide Christian and Muslim against each other, and this is how they will deceive and divide this nation. To my Christian and Muslim brothers and sisters, I urge you and I ask you not to be deceived by them. Do not let them divide you against each other, because they have evil intentions and plans for both of you. They want to destroy all of you. Do not be fools and puppets in their hands. Stand together, stand united against evil, and stand for peace and solidarity. Netanyahu will not stop his genocide against the innocent people of Palestine anytime soon. In fact, Netanyahu is intent to expand his war and to expand his atrocities to the people of Lebanon and to Iran. South Africa, beware. They are planning more fake pandemics, more fake lockdowns, and forced vaccinations after the elections. They will even bring experts or fake experts to try and convince you that we need lockdowns also to save the planet. Please, South Africa, please don't fall for their lies again. In order for them to ensure that their evil plans against us are implemented, They have to do whatever it takes to ensure that only their puppets are elected into government. Because if other people are elected into government that are not their puppets, people like me, they know that I will ruin their plans. I will stop their evil in its tracks. That is why the electoral rules were made in such a way that the IEC could exclude any new political party based on frivolous technicalities and admit others on the same technicalities. The media is also doing its part, a very important part, pulling wool over the face of the people of South Africa, brainwashing the people of South Africa. The media is not working for you. The media is working on you, to brainwash you, to deceive you into electing leaders and to put in place a government that will betray you. That is the job of the media. That is why the media has given Azania no coverage, because the media knows we are the greatest threat to those that threaten the future of this country. The Oppenheimer cabal are taking no chances with these elections. They are hedging their bets by funding multiple political parties. Because 30 years ago, the Oppenheimer cabal funded the ANC into power, and now they are funding the ANC out of power, and it is their intention to replace the ANC with a national coalition government, in which they control all of the coalition partners. And the purpose of this coalition government will be only one: to create chaos in South Africa, to create political stalemate in South Africa, so that the people of South Africa can lose all hope in democracy, so that the people in South Africa can be deceived into calling for a dictatorship, and they will receive one of the most brutal dictatorships ever. This is the purpose of what we are going through now, and that is why it is important for the elections to deliver a certain outcome. Otherwise, the plans of the Oppenheimer cabal might be ruined. Do not be deceived or fooled. Action SA, Rise Mzansi, Bossa are not real alternatives. They are all heavily funded by the Oppenheimer cabal. They receive millions from them. Rise Mzansi is a new political party, and yet they have more posters on polls in South Africa more than the ANC itself. This should tell you, where did they get such money? Of course, they got it from the Oppenheimer cabal. And whose interest do you think they will serve after they have been funded so heavily by the Oppenheimer cabal? South Africa, if we do nothing, the immorality and subversion and perversion of our country in the form of the Bella Bill, in the form of the LGBTQ movements and the Church of Satan will not stop. It will continue, and it will get much, much worse. On this day, the 27th of April 2024, so-called Freedom Day, I am here to tell you that you are not yet free. I am here to warn you that they do not only want to take your freedom, they want to take your life, and they want to take your soul. The only way out of this nightmare is to stand with me against evil, and join the peaceful revolution of Azania. Because this country needs nothing less than a peaceful revolution. Thank you very much.